Well, hello, hello. We are just getting started here. It's the top of the hour. And so far, hello, Michael. Welcome, welcome. We
Hey,
have
Michael.
several others coming, or at least they're registered. So in the meantime, we have this nice, beautiful little group. Thank you and welcome to this beautiful Q&A that I'm offering as a bonus this week. And I'd love for you to be introduced to my two friends and superstars and either clients or former clients. We have Taryn. You want to say a little bit about yourself, Taryn?
I am Taryn Loxo. I am in North Bend, Washington. So I'm not sure where you are zooming in from, but welcome. A little bit about me. Just a fan of Carol's. Worked with Carol, and it's transformed by the relationship I've had and her helping me get my business up and running and thriving in a great place. So I work in the mental fitness and mindset and corporate work, helping clients really play a bigger game in their culture.
Yeah. Okay, here comes Leah. We'll just give her a moment. She's calling in on the road, so I don't know if
we love zooming road calls.
She's in the zooming road. Let's see if she comes in. Hello, Leah. We know you're driving. Can you hear us? Just unmute and say yes or no, if you can, safely.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Hey, Leah.
Never mind. We're just going to keep going. So Taryn just introduced herself. How about Wendy? Would you like to introduce yourself? Oh, here comes Leah. What's up? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I think she just did her little unmute, mute. I'm here.
Sounds all right. Wendy, want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So my name is Wendy Tadiucci. I live in LaPorte, Indiana, very tippy top of the state of Indiana, almost touching Michigan. And I am a freedom and happiness coach for business owners that also happen to have aging parents or someone that they are caring for. I know Carol from being her coachee, her client for the last, I don't even know how many years, but maybe 2019, maybe 2017, who knows, off and on. And boy, Carol has just, like Taryn said, has transformed my life, has transformed my business. And I have to laugh going into this, thinking about our relationship. Carol, you asked me 4 times, can I help you with that? Can I help you with that? And I turned you down 4 times. What was I thinking? Anyway, but Carol's just awesome. Oh, hey, here's Nancy.
Yeah, here's Nancy. Hello, Nancy. If you can turn on your camera, we would love to hear you. Nancy, we're just saying about how Wendy, actually, when I asked her if she could help me, if I could help her, she said no 4 times. Sometimes it happens like that. So
and I want to offer up another perspective. So a complete opposite of yours, Wendy. I had been seeing Carol in our larger coaching community, and I was like, I want to work with Carol. I want to work with Carol. I just had to have the timing be just right. And so I was like, Carol, I need you to be my next coach. I was working with another one, and she was helping me birth me to be an entrepreneur and like have me leave my corporate job. But I was like, I need another coach who's going to help me actually be successful in birthing my business. So she first coach birthed me. She's like more my doula. And then I knew Carol would be the business coach I needed to birth the business. So I was like, okay, I had my eyes set on Carol. It just had to be the right time.
nice. Thanks, Taryn. Yeah. So we're just I just have like a few questions and then we can open up for general questions. And I'd like the two of you to just, maybe we'll have Wendy answer it first and then Taryn, and then we'll go back and forth.
Oh, sure.
Oh, okay. Here comes Robin. Just give her a second so we can start with everybody here. We have all kinds of fun people popping in and out. That's kind of the way it goes sometimes with life, you know. Hello, Robin. So you're not too late. We're just getting started. Welcome, welcome. So first question is, we'll start with Wendy. Wendy, what was your life like before you started working with me?
Oh my God. Before I started working with you, I was in perfectionism hell. Oh my gosh. It was horrible. I couldn't put myself out there. I didn't know what I was doing. oh my God, if I say this, they're going to think that. And if I do this, they're going to do that. Like I was stopping myself before even getting myself out there. And I had no idea. Robin's shaking her
Wow.
head. It was a mess.
Yeah.
Not only that, but my health was not good. And I was hiding what was
Yeah.
really going on with my health. I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't want anybody to know a lot of things. I had to keep
Yeah.
all that secret. And that was a lot of a wasted energy, emotional, physical, mental. It was exhausting
Yeah.
to not be honest and transparent. Business sucked. It was awful. It was just, I had no idea what I was doing. Matter of fact, this wall that you see here, before I started working with Carol, I was so scattered and so all over the place. It was full of freaking Post-it notes. None of this stuff was up. None of it. Loaded with Post-it notes. And I had no idea what to do first. And I was working so hard,
Yeah. Yeah.
not getting anywhere.
Luckily, you're not there anymore. I'm getting
Oh
exhausted
my
just
God.
listening to you.
No, it was tiring. But now I'll tell you all the things I have. But in addition to all the things I have now, I also have this wall of fun.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So let's go to Taryn. What was your life like before you started working with me?
Well, it was a huge transition point for me. So I had just pretty much said goodbye to my corporate job. So the 6-figure business, or I was in corporate high tech, and Carol, I had you come into my life because I knew I needed the structure and support around building a thriving coaching business. And you were the perfect person I wanted to be working with. And that is, so my life before was like, working a corporate job, raising 2 girls on my own, trying to build this coaching business on the side. So, and then, my girls were in lots of activities. So I just was running on multiple cylinders all over. And so then it's like switching into, now I'm an entrepreneur. I don't have that safety net of a corporate job. I put that in quotes because it's, I think, sometimes a false safety net. And like, now what do I do with my time? How do I not burn myself out trying to be this, business owner and all these other things? So she was really able to hold that space for me of like, here's the business pieces of it. Here's how to, create your offers, how to do all these things and have fun and be playful and have a life, like really holding me accountable to bringing play and honoring that I'm an entrepreneur and I can actually pick the things I want to work on. I don't have to, I'm not really following other people's agendas. It's my agenda. And I'm my own CEO. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true. We'll just give Debbie a minute. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, welcome Debbie. Hello, hello. Nice small intimate group. We're just our special guests are Taryn and Wendy, and we're just going through some questions. Then we're going to open it up. Taryn, I wanted to reflect on that. Not everybody that works with me is an entrepreneur. Most people are, but one common problem is that by having full control of our time, it's hard to pick. It's like hard to pick. Well, which do I do? And how full do I get it? And what do I say yes to? And what do I say no to? So those are the kinds of things that emerge once we're no longer, as you shared, you had a corporate job where you went to work at a certain time, you had lunch or didn't have lunch, as the case may be, whatever it was. But you had like time in the office doing your job, and then you had time not in your job. And that's beautiful. And when we make that shift to become an entrepreneur, or maybe we're shifting to part-time or whatever it is, now we have to make those choices. And that can be hard, right? Yeah. Next question I have for y'all, and maybe Taryn, you start this time. What was one surprising thing during the time that we worked together that maybe resulted in a little bit of an unexpected outcome?
When you sent that message or question over to me, what I remember being unexpected is it's a very subtle thing. Was being able to trust that you were holding my best interest, even if it wasn't something I wanted to hear at that moment. So this fierceness, like my bigger game was so important that you were willing to get me uncomfortable in some situations, and that really had me grow. So I felt very safe in being able to express and even set boundaries, like, no, that doesn't work. It's just like it was full permission to receive, accept, and get confronted by stuff. So that was an unexpected outcome. So
Cool. I like
yeah.
it. We all didn't practice this, so I didn't know.
No, not at all.
So, what about you, Wendy? What unexpected outcomes or things happen during our time together?
Yeah. So I was going to say something else before I just heard Taryn, but I'm going to piggyback on what Taryn said is absolutely. Carol holds that fierce love, support, accountability, really gave me the kicks in the pants that I needed when I needed them in a loving way. And it was exactly what I needed. She was not going to let me get away with my typical, oh, well, this is, whatever the way it is. Right? No. And thank God she didn't. Thank God she kicked me in the butt.
Like
and made
what?
me think and made me reflect.
What happened?
Oh
what
gosh, you're
did
asking
you
me
change?
for something specific.
I get something specific.
Okay, well, just for yesterday, for example, we're on a coaching call and I was explaining something and you were like, well, you just want to be right, don't you? And I'm like,
Ouch, but yeah.
Yes, damn it.
I didn't
Right.
quite see it like that, but I think
did.
that's
But it was good. It was good. That's what I needed to hear. And just things like that all through our coaching relationship has helped me to grow and up level. And that's exactly what I needed. Beyond that, just the other unexpected surprises, having fun.
Oh
Beginning
yeah,
of this, oh my
beginning
God,
you
no,
weren't having very much
I
fun.
cannot have fun. I have to just do this. I have to work. It cannot be fun. No, I can't be
Has to
fun.
be yeah.
Yeah, she calls you on your shit. That's exactly right, Debbie. And
Yep, for sure.
much needed. The other surprising thing was my health improved. My health improved
Yeah,
because Carol helped me to open up and be honest and be like, okay, this is the situation.
right.
And it was fine. It was fine when I did that. So
It wasn't just fine, it actually was a game changer.
it was a game changer. Oh my God. Yeah.
It was a game changer.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Totally.
at the bottom of the productivity success cake, which most of you know, but maybe some of you don't, right? So this is my signature system. At the bottom, it's all about health. So if we don't have at least a 5 out of 10 at the bare minimum, if any of these pieces are like a 1 to a 4, we're going to start working on those first. Absolutely. So, all right, third and final question before we open it up. And maybe we'll have Wendy go this time. All right, what would be your best advice to somebody that maybe is, and you can pick one or all of these, because these are the things I keep hearing over and over again. They want more revenue, right, coming in.
Right.
They want more fun, and they want more balance in their life. So you can pick any or all of those, like some advice, because you guys are, in fact, the experts. And I positioned this as a Q&A and listen to the experts. So as the experts, what would you say?
Right. Well, I wanted more revenue. And by the way, I got it, doubled my income. Thank you very much. Because of Carol's help. I wanted more fun, but going into it, I didn't know that I wanted more fun. So let me just lean into both of those. My expert advice would be get a coach, specifically Carol, right? And have her work with you. If it's not Carol, get somebody else, but get a coach. Do not try to do this on your own. Because my God, I struggled for so many years doing it on myself, head down, working so hard, getting nowhere except frustrated and sick. So work with a coach. That's my advice to you.
Okay, great. Taryn, same question.
Fun is something we forget about. And it's too important. And whatever your definition of fun is, mine could be completely different from Wendy's or Carol's or Debbie's or like it's like, what brings you joy and are you doing it? I found my love of hiking again, of getting outdoors. And when I am in that space, I can attune to what needs to be created and offered in this world. Like, what's that next best conversation that needs to happen? So it actually elevates and makes the performance even better in my business when I am taking time to fill up my own cup. So that was a big learning aha is I matter first and foremost. And when I forget that, especially when I was wired for so long to give to others and unwiring that and really bringing myself back to like, I am the most important person, my oxygen mask on myself first. It allows me to be able to serve so many more people and bring about the change that I want to do in the world. So that, and it did bring in more revenue. It increased my clients. It increased, like, I was happier and then people were more attracted to what I was doing in the world. So that was a pretty big deal. What was the second part of this?
Yeah, let's see. So the question is, what is your best advice to somebody seeking more revenue, more fun, and more balance in their life?
The thing that lights you up and do that first, and then the rest will like come together. So I guess that's the bottom line answer to that.
What lights you up? I absolutely loves that. And you're right. I remember us, you were a firework. That was like your song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I wanted to make sure we have plenty of time to have everybody here ask all the questions they want. I have other questions that have come in over the last week or so, so I can always do that. But who might have a question?
Don't be scared. Raise your hand.
Carol, are you going to ask the question you and I had talked about?
Why don't you ask it? And then
Okay.
we'll have,
Curious, Nancy.
we'll have
What
my-
is it?
Go ahead.
So I've become aware of a strong belief connected to childhood trauma that sort of I believe now is limiting me. And the good news is I can see it. It's like as I left my job and I'm working on doing something that lights me up, because that's what I want to do, because what I was doing wasn't lighting me up, or the setting it was. And I realized, like, as I like let things get really good in my life, like, you know, health wise, relationship wise, job wise, like there's a strong if it gets too good, if it feels too good, something bad is going to happen and it's going to be my fault. And I totally know logically that it's not true. but my subconscious still is operating on that system. And so I just wondered what you might have to say out of how to change that wiring.
Okay, so Wendy has a story, right? About how she went through a similar thing.
Yeah. As you were talking, Nancy, I'm like shaking my head going, yeah, exactly. I think I've got childhood trauma too, for many different reasons. And for all my life, I thought exactly the same way. Okay, this good thing happened. Now here's the bad thing. This is gonna be a good thing, and I've got to sacrifice this bad thing, or I'm gonna wait for I know something bad's coming. God. That sucked.
And it wasn't conscious, right? You weren't like consciously thinking that, like, or were you consciously?
Oh, I
thinking
probably
it?
was subconsciously, consciously. I'm sure I was. In working with Carol, she really unpeeled with me all of the layers around all of that. A lifetime worth of, I'm not good enough. This is going to happen. This is a bad thing that's going to happen. I don't deserve this, all of it. Right. And just asking questions and holding me accountable and expecting more from me, which allowed me to up level and which allowed me to trust myself and step out. And now I'm living in a place of, I'm going to start crying.
That's
now I'm
good.
living, yeah, that's a
you
good
can
thing.
cry.
So, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. So now I'm living in a place of, I choose to be happy. I choose to be happy. It is not a destination. It is a feeling, and I choose it. And so no longer am I living day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute in, oh God, what's going to happen next? Not anymore. And that's why I doubled my revenue. I think that's one of the reasons. Because you can't do anything. And I'm just speaking for me. I couldn't do anything when I was in that space. Like nothing could happen except bad. Because of course that's what I'm asking for. So of course the universe is going to go, okay, well, here you go. And that's not the case anymore. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it's really, I was just listening to a call prior to this, and they were talking about like the frequency you're carrying. And like if you're in a frequency, so what you just said totally resonates. Like if you're in a frequency of, oh, something's bad's going to happen, you're kind of sending those signals out to the universe, like send me something bad. Okay, here you go. And so like what I heard you say is that you kind of took control and say, no, I choose to be happy. I choose regard. And I guess over time, your nervous system just kind of says, okay, she's telling me something different. She wants to be happy. Okay. And then you started attracting that.
Well, so you say I took control. I did ultimately, but it was like Carol had me by the tether. Like it's kind of like rock climbing, right? You got one person on top, you got the other person that's like tied around you. It was like that. Until I got to the point where she's like, okay, you got this. And I do. But it was nice to have that tether as I was working through all of my stuff from 49 years on this earth.
Yeah. I want to jump in.
That makes me want to cry. That's beautiful analogy.
Well, Nancy, crying is good. You told me the same thing. Go ahead.
Right at you. Yeah. I feel it. Thank you.
So crying is the water to water, fuel our desires, to water.
It matters. It matters.
Yeah.
So Robin had a question about group coaching versus one-to-one coaching. And what I'll say is that this kind of transformation happens in both. So whether you choose one or both, I've been told this, I mean, Wendy and Taryn, please speak to this, but I've been told this like by multiple people, multiple times, so much that I'm actually believing it, is that the way, like I hold space for and create community really quickly so that people in the group, which is a maximum of 8 people, feel really comfy. And because we feel really comfy, we can fall apart. And when we fall apart, we go from rupture to rapture to, the next. So, the transformation can happen either way. And the good news, if someone, Robin, for example, if you were to choose, just group, which is fair enough, what happens is you get the added benefit of many, people. So there's one lady, Jill, and she was at the workshop on, some of you may remember her, those of you who came to the workshop. She one time did a little after interview with me. And she said, Carol, you're great. Don't get me wrong. She goes, but I love the group because it's like having, 7 more of you. So to answer your question, Robin, feel free to, unmute and ask if I haven't answered it properly. But I think what you're really asking is how does the transformation happen? Can it happen in the group only? And the answer is yes. And it depends on how much you lean in. You must lean in. If you're going to be in a group and sit back and then I will say probably you will not get the kind of value and vulnerability and all that. Otherwise, you will. So that's cool, Nancy. I know Michael had a question. What's your question?
I did. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Wendy and Taryn, so much for what you've said so far, and great to meet the rest of you. I'm a guy who this is kind of building on one of your comments, Wendy. I'm a guy who, at a very young age, one of my mantras, maybe my biggest, not my biggest one of my biggest one was moving back to the land and wanting to become self-sufficient and learn all the different ways to do that, you know, and learning all these different skills and talents. And my dad was a farmer and a very talented guy, and he was a Renaissance man. And I didn't exactly want to become like him. I wanted to become my version of him, you know? And so down through the years, I've prided myself in being able to do lots of things, including organizing my life. But I really appreciate your saying, get a coach. And I've never done anything like that, you know? But I think it would be really helpful. And if you have anything else you'd like to share with your experience of, you know, making that transition from trying to do everything yourself to working with a coach, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. Boy, life is so much easier. My life is so much easier with Carol. It just is. And by the way, my dad was a farmer as well, Michael.
Wow.
So when you saw that, I was like, oh yeah. Like I said, I was going through so many years of just working so hard and getting absolutely nowhere. And I can't tell you how many times I was ready to quit. I was really ready to quit when I hired Carol, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it one last try. And the difference between working without a coach and working with a coach with Carol, totally night and day. It was not an easy choice for me. I did not have the money to pay her. But I did. I figured it out, and I doubled my income. Yeah. And the plan for 2023 is to double it again from that point. And I have no doubt.
High level, because I'm just starting a new high level women's leadership mastermind, and you're going to be, because you're already want to keep going, right, on the upward spiral. We don't want to stay stagnant. We don't ever want to stay stagnant. It's nice to be where we are, so we get to a spot, and then we get to enjoy it, however long feels good. And then there'll be that moment where you feel that little, well, wait a minute, I want to do more, you know, and so I think you felt that, and you're gonna kind of keep going. Taryn, did you have any comments or from Michael?
I have lots. And then I was just in the moment of listening, and I was like, I think I lost them all. But I just was inspired by what Wendy was saying. So there's just this energy of when you are working with an accountability partner, and that's really what a coach is. You're holding yourself accountable to somebody else, and that's that motivation that you need to. At least for me, I needed a little bit of that external motivation to, like, oh, I'm meeting with Carol. I was going to do this thing. And so I need to actually do it. And so it was just the right type of fuel for me to keep going and going, oh yeah, that was this thing I talked about. And I am my worst enemy in my own head. And so having that external voice to reflect back and go, like, here's what I'm actually seeing you do, Taryn. I was like, oh, okay. Then I started believing it. So then it becomes this transformation of the external voice in becomes the internal voice out. And it's just a flywheel of impact.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, Debbie, do you have any questions? If you don't, that's okay. You don't have any curiosities?
No, I'm just taking this all in.
Okay.
You and I had a conversation about coaching. I've had several coaches, and when I paid a lot of money for a coach, I got a lot of money out of it. It was 10 times what I put in.
Yep.
It's amazing, and especially, but and I will say that it's still hard. It's still that moment of like, right, that like more, can you want to speak to that, Debbie? Like when you make that choice?
Well, I knew that I had to do something, and money is a big motivator for me. And if I'm going to pay, well, like in 2006, I paid $3,500 for Canfield's coaching. And that was a lot of money back then. I had no money. I mean, I had $4,000 on a credit card and I took a cash advance. It was a leap of faith. And that leap of faith allowed me to win money, 35,000. And then
Hey, hang on. You won 35,000 or 3,500?
35,000.
So you paid 3,500 and you won 35.
3 months after, when my coach said money flows freely and abundantly to me, carry that affirmation. 8 days later, I won that money. And then 3 days after that, I saw Jack Canfield and I said, look, your coaching program paid off 10 to 1. And so, yeah.
That is a big gulp moment. I love
God.
to.
What I love is that you put it out there in the universe, Debbie, like this matters, I matter. And so then the universe was like, okay, we're going to support you in that.
Yeah. And you have to, clear the house, you have to clean house and be in the present moment. And, life gets in the way sometimes, right? And so, making the commitment to Carol for this program, I got back into, I got my dance music back. Every hour I get up and I got you, babe. No, what is it? I Feel Good, James Brown.
All right, here we go.
There's some really good, I have Happy on there, but there's a lot of like mood buster music and dance music. So I get up, but this morning I did my somatic movement exercises and my lucid dreaming meditation, so I just took care of that. And then I've been dancing and just feeling great, where before you get like tired, and you're at, so I'm all in, so.
Yeah. Well, beautiful. I'm glad you brought up the money because one of the questions that has come in, I've gotten several questions over the week because as you all know, I opened registration for Discover Your Greatness through the Productivity Success Cake process. And a couple of people have really said, hey, I'm in some debt and this is going to be really, and it's real. Yeah. So what might you say, either Taryn or Wendy, whoever wants to say, what would you say to that person if they said that? Like what best advice might you have?
I have something and I just cringed there because when I started working with Carol, I was in debt, personal, business debt. I am not anymore, personal or business wise. So when she asked that question, I was like, well, just pay her. It'll work out. And I say that not lightly, although it seems like I am, because I paid her and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I don't, right. And then the gremlins kicked in kind of thing.
No, don't.
But literally the first coaching call with her, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's going to be okay. I don't know how, I don't know, but it is. And it is okay. So, just pay her.
Well, I want to throw something in and then we'll open it up to you, Taryn. So just pay me, sure, but here's the thing, don't, because I actually want to talk to you first, if this is you, because I actually want to do a little reality check. You guys each talked about how I'm big on reality, because depending on what that really is, it may not be the right answer. It may actually be a better answer to straighten out various things in the background before you take on more debt. And also be sure that your head is going to be able to find a space to make room for this new awesomeness to come in. 'Cause sometimes we're so underwater that but just paying more is not going to help. Mm-hmm. So the only real way to know is to have a conversation with me and to trust that I'm not going to say yes to somebody that my gut says, So there you go. Okay,
Yeah.
Taryn.
Add on to that, is there's good debt, bad debt, right? So it's weighing, like sometimes there's debt you take on, like buying a house, because it's good debt, right? It's good for your credit. Coaching can be in that same way. Are you going to a program because you're just trying to get more learning, more education, more something, and it's an energy that's like you're just trying to get more gold stars or something, learn more to avoid doing something else. And then there's programs that are like actually here to serve and to transform and to elevate. So distinguishing or discerning, like, is this good debt or bad debt that I'm willing to take on? Is this in service of my higher purpose of what I want to do? And I've had to make some calls for that. Last year, I was going to enroll in another program. And I had initially said yes. And then I was like, no, this is actually not the right program for me. And when I said no, the universe gave me what I needed. Like, I needed to be delivering content, not consuming more content.
Right.
And that was a big like shift for me. So you get to make those calls. Like, is this good debt or bad debt?
Yeah.
So let me ask you something, Taryn.
Yeah.
How did you feel into that decision? Like, what allowed you to make that decision?
It was really, it was the gut. You spoke to that, right? My gut was like I kept questioning something over and over again. And that's usually a clear sign that I haven't made a good decision for myself. And when I make a decision, and it's the right decision, it's so clear. And then I jump right into it. So for me, that continuous doubt, it wasn't coming from, like, will I get enough from it? It was just like, how is my time? Is this really where my best value of time is going to be? And with your programs, Carol, it's like, it gives you more time because you're getting more clear on the things that matter. Like the focus is there.
That's right. Hey, Bob. I want to say one more thing on this. One of the big things that like a ribbon throughout absolutely everything I do. And I find the more we go back to this, the better. What's the voice within saying? How do you get quiet? How do you go back to, like Debbie was saying, like, you had your somatic practices, you've got your lucid dreaming, like everybody's got different ways of getting quiet. However you get quiet and you hear what's within, I can guarantee you beyond a shadow of a doubt, what that little voice is saying is the right answer. So the more we quiet the chatter, which is a lot of people that walk into my world have a lot of chatter, they have a lot of interest, they get a lot of things, they get a lot of dopamine and doing all their things, and they're very busy and they do this, but when we listen, the answer in there is always the right answer. And it can get backed up with, is this good debt or bad debt? No, those are important questions too. Absolutely. But truly, I feel like it's living right in here. So yeah, thanks. Robin, I know that you're like at an office right now and you're not necessarily available to talk, but I just wanted to spotlight you and say, if you're wanting to unmute and ask a question, we'd love to hear you. So I'm just going to give you a second. Okay, so she must be doing something else. Welcome, Bob. We're just kind of coming to sort of the end. We asked a lot of questions. Our special guests are Wendy and Taryn, who've had a lot of success working with me, and they had some beautiful tips. What question did you come with today?
Well, actually, part of the reason I'm late is I finally got a hold of a really good tax guy to help me with my back taxes. He's really, and I felt it was more important to do that on this call because I had tried to call him before.
Oh, yeah.
And so I felt really good about that. And so that was a big thing that I can share. And I don't know what my question is other than just to actually stay focused and have a plan to get all the stuff done that I need to do regarding that so I can move forward with the next thing.
Yeah. So thank you, Bob. I'm going to go a little bit like I'm going to zero in on something. This isn't like in the script, but I'm going to zero in right now on a lot of you were at the workshop on Monday where we kicked off 2023. And what we talked about is our desire, our deep desire, what we wanted for 2023, right? That's okay, Robin. So what I'm going to, and everybody can do this if they'd like. Bob, when you had your overall desire, do you remember what your overall desire was?
I don't, and I have those papers in the house.
That's okay. That's okay.
I just want to at least get here.
All right. Then what I'll do is I'll talk to you offline about this. But I wanted to say as an overall, when I talk about what is the challenge in achieving whatever you want, and when you ask yourself, what is the challenge? And then what is the deeper challenge? And then what is the deeper challenge? It isn't the external challenges as much, it's the internal challenges that we want to really focus on. Usually they're things that we're telling ourselves, they're lies that we're telling ourselves, but we don't see those right away. At first we think, oh, the biggest challenge is we're heading into a recession and, blah, 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 blah. The biggest challenge is that, I got 2 kids going off to college and, I'm having trouble paying my mortgage. I mean, those are real things. Don't get me wrong, but underneath that, what's really going on is that I'm too busy to stop, maybe just making this up, too busy to stop and really get creative, and I'm not allowing myself to, or not allowing myself to ask for help, or I think about potential funding sources and then I dismiss it instead of looking into it. Like those are the challenge questions. So I wanted to just say that out loud, but yeah. So Robin, now that you're done with your son's cavity, do you have any questions? Would you like to unmute?
I have another question if there's time, Carol.
Oh, please.
After Robin. Robin.
I've got a question too after Nancy's and Robin.
Okay, great. So go ahead, Nancy.
So did Robin respond?
Well, Robin hasn't unmuted. Maybe she's busy.
Okay.
She's at the dental office. So it was nice.
Yeah. So I just wanted to again ask Wendy and Taryn regarding I'm realizing that perfectionism was also part of the noose I had around my neck, like in my view of life. And I say that because that's sort of my experience of it. And I don't say that to be mean to myself, but that's the experience. And so, it's like, if I do it right, then I can be successful in whatever my desire is. And, but I also, so I've learned that life is a process and there's ebbs and flows. Like I think Carol, you use that language, don't you? Ebbs and flows. So there's ups and downs on the road to success. We think it looks like this, but it's really like this. And so one of the things I realized that stopped me from taking action is because when it goes like this on the road to success, then that old thinking and feeling kicks in of, oh, I did it wrong. See, I should have done it sooner. If I had done it sooner, this wouldn't have happened. Like blah, blah, blah. And I know it's my thoughts and that feeds the feelings. And then there's the old feelings from childhood that fuel the thoughts. And I just wondered, how did you overcome, or how did you start to embrace? It's like the discomfort of growing into success or growing, because like it's uncomfortable feeling stuck. It doesn't feel good, but it's familiar. And so I guess what's been hard for me is to wrap my head around, like like a little turtle sticking her head out, like, oh, but it's uncomfortable out there, but it's okay. It's not the same kind of discomfort of being stuck. Like, how do I begin to feel comfortable with the discomfort of growing? I guess that might be
I think Taryn will have a great
question. I could do a whole workshop on this. First, it's like, I just want to applaud you, Nancy, for recognizing like this is actually happening. So that's a big step. A lot of people are not even recognizing it. So kudos to you for seeing it happening. And it's, oh my gosh, how do I answer this succinctly? I'm like, honoring it and going, and taking a pause. Give yourself that moment to pause, take a couple deep breaths. I call this shortcut to sage, like putting my hands on my heart and
Yeah.
focusing on my breath. Whenever those feelings of doubt creep up, they're bound to creep up. Anytime you're getting out of a comfort zone, you're taking a bold action, you're up to playing a bigger game. Of course, those voices are going to expect them to come up.
Well, I
And
like that
love
one.
them.
Expect
Yeah.
them.
Expect them, love on them, and going, oh, you're here to remind me that I'm playing a bigger game. Thank you. Appreciate them. Love on them.
Yeah.
Don't
Beautiful.
dismiss them. Don't hate them. Just go, thank you.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's beautiful, because I think that I tended to do both of those things, dismiss or hate on, or make it mean that I did it wrong. That's what I did.
It's
I
our
would
inner
interpret them.
judge. Yeah.
Yeah.
The inner judge actually is such a mean bully to ourselves and others. And if we can just love on it, and yeah, it's called radical self-acceptance, and you're stepping into your self-authority, just compassion.
Yeah. Thank
Mhm.
you. That's helpful.
Beautiful. Yeah. Anybody else have comments for Nancy on that topic, or should we go to Taryn's question?
Would you
Just-
say stepping into my what?
Sage,
Self
your
what?
sage, your inner wisdom, your higher self, whatever you want to call it. It's like this, your intuition, not your
No, you
ego.
said something about stepping into radical self-compassion and self.
Radical self-acceptance and self-compassion, self-authority.
Oh, self-authority.
One of
Self-authority.
those
That
words.
was the word. Yeah, I
Mhm.
like that, self-authority. Like I get to decide what it means and how I respond.
Mm.
You're in the driver's seat.
Remember we talked, one second, Wendy, remember we
Yeah.
talked the last time, Nancy, with your follow-up call, underneath the iceberg, like in the iceberg, there are three
Yeah.
things below the decide, and one of them is that self-love.
Yes.
Self-love in my world is radical, like self-healing and all that. So, and we're gonna have Wendy comment, and then we're gonna have Debbie, because Debbie has something on this too.
super quick, Nancy, what helped me is to notice when I was being mean to myself and changing
Yes.
that. The other thing that helped me, the other thing that comes to mind is, and this is a formula I got from another coach, and it's every night. Now she wants you to write this down. I just do this before I close my eyes. It's what do I brag about today? One brag, one celebration, and one direction or whatever you want, right? So it could, and it started out very small. I'm going to brag that I wrote down someone's phone number and I'm going to call them tomorrow, right? That's a brag. A celebration is, okay, I wrote this email to so-and-so. Oh, the third one, that was desire. I desire more clients, or I desire, whatever, and just repeat. And that starts changing the narrative.
Trinity, brag, celebration, desire.
Trinity. Thank
Yep.
you.
Trinity. Oh, that's beautiful. I hadn't heard that. That's beautiful.
I want to almost offer one more thing to, like, you add an A in front of that. So assess, brag, celebrate, desire, ABCD before you
Ooh,
go to bed.
Look at how much
very
fun
nice.
we have. I love it. What do you got, Debbie? You have something.
Real quickly, because I have two back-to-back clients starting at 3.
Okay.
I did not know that I was insecure. And that led to a lot of things. And that was my current reality. And if I didn't like and it was my personality. So if I didn't like my current reality, you can change your personality. When I got sober, I had a psychic change in personality of 180. So I started doing Dispenza's meditations, breaking the habit of being yourself. It's a lot of work, but it tells you how you are. You have to get into the present moment and not into your body at all. You have to just be like, if you're focused on something, you're not even aware of your body, but you have to be in this state of bodilessness to get into the quantum field. And that's where all those manifestations and miracles come from in the quantum field. And once you get there, that's when you can change it, because that from when you were 2 or 3, like what I've had, that's in your cell tissue. And if you just, say, and I've done this, but if you just say, I love you, and I want to get rid of it. I mean, it's a part, I want to change it. I mean, change it into, but to do that is a lot more work, and there's a lot of focus, and it's like the meditations at the 4th week, it's by 1 hour and 15 minutes a day of just this meditation, but you're creating a new destiny,
Right.
and everything changed for me with that. you know.
Neuroplasticity. So you're changing how the neurons are firing in your brain, because we can rewire our brains. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
whatever wires together, fires together.
Right, right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So Taryn, you had a question.
And I'm
Great,
sorry, I
Carol.
have to go, so.
Okay,
Oh, thank you,
Good
Debbie.
to meet you, Debbie.
Thank you.
We were talking earlier before we jumped on the call, and you said, wait, ask this question. I think it's so important to hear, like, why does this work matter to you, Carol? Like your personal why, whatever it wants to be, like, why does this matter so much for you?
Yeah. So thank you for asking. Okay, so the work I do matters to me because there is a lot. The people that I'll just start with the people that I typically work with. The people I typically work with, knowingly or unknowingly, have had some trauma. And they will describe themselves as all over the place. They will describe themselves as scattered. They'll describe themselves as ADHD, maybe on the spectrum, or just really busy. And what I know is that those people are the movers, the shakers, and the impact, like the people that are going to make the most impact in the world. But yet what's happening is that they are being held back by all of the things that we're talking about now. Their earlier trauma that they can't get past. They're, trying really hard, but not knowing, like, how do I get past this? And also they've got a lot of, quite frankly, guilt and shame around that they think differently, that they organize themselves differently or aren't organized. They've been told their whole lives that they're doing it wrong. And now what we do is we talk about specific ways that it'll work for their brain. Like it'll work, like I love them up. So kind of like steps is, besides the steps behind me, are like you said, radical self-love and self-acceptance. And when we have that, it automatically, our nervous system is like not jumping all the time, right? And we do that. And then from there, you can listen, you can open up and hear the things that you've been told before, that, like Nancy says, you try, and then a little failure goes back into that big failure, that like loop that, oh, see, I told you so. But now that you've filled your cup so much with that radical self-love and self-acceptance, that you start blossoming out. And when people start blossoming out, well, holy crap, like now you can do the work you want to do in the world, that you're meant to do in the world. You get to love bigger, you get to play bigger. And then the ripple effect happens. Because when I work with Taryn, who now isn't charging $25 a session anymore, right? Now you're working with,
Bigger clients.
bigger clients and making a bigger impact, and taking your kids on trips around the world for weeks at a time and giving them that experience and doing all these things. Well, you alone, if I just worked with you over all these years, and I've been doing this since 2009, like if I just worked with you, that would be an amazing win. But you are not the only one. Same can be said for Wendy and just so many other people. All you got to do is go to my YouTube channel or website or whatever it is. But that's why I do it, is because there is so much like creativity and brilliance locked up in the trauma and the shoulds and the blame and the I can't get out of my own way. And if I can just help people this much, then that's great. And if I can help them this much, and if I can just start the process of the unfolding of the lotus flower, holy hell, we're in. So that's why I do it. But thank you. But thank you.
Welcome.
So
Thank you for bringing your amazing work out into the world, Carol.
you are so very, very welcome. So I know we're headed towards the top of the hour. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah, I would just like to thank Carol, like, for doing your amazing work. Like if you hadn't done your work, then you wouldn't have been able to help all these people. And
Yeah,
so,
thank you. Yeah.
like, having the courage to do that, like, it's amazing.
Yeah, that was a
Amazing.
small thing. And
What-
it's
what-
ongoing. It's ongoing.
What'd you,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's ongoing. So, all right. Well, a lot of you are already doing Discover, right? So Wendy's not, because she's doing a high level mastermind. Taryn's not, because my God, she's got huge, she's way off in another like planetary orbit, which is awesome, sort of orbiting herself. But Michael's going to be in Discover. He just signed up. That's awesome. Welcome. Yeah, Maine Bob is, because you did Discern and Discover. Nancy, I think that's your plan, but certainly if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Okay.
What was the loving stepping into your greatness? Is that Discover Your Greatness? Is that another program?
No,
Or is
that's
that the Discover?
That's it. That's what hopefully you're gonna, it's what you said you wanted to do. So discover your greatness through the productivity success cake system. It's all the
Oh,
same.
I thought it was just Discover.
Yeah, discover for short.
Oh, okay. I never heard the whole title.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
yeah. Discover is like step 3. So so I hope to welcome you in if it feels right to you, and reach out with any questions. Thank you all so much for spending your hour with me this afternoon or morning, as the case may be, on the Pacific Coast. And we'll talk to you again all soon. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you, Carol.
Bye.
Thank you all
Thank
so
you all.
much. Great to
you.
meet
Bye-bye.
you.